What up? What up? Welcome and good morning, everyone, to another day of Talent Talk, our Community Spotlight edition. Today, you got your boy Steve, and you have my girl Christy. Christy with us.
Good morning, everyone.
How you doing this morning, Christy?
I am a little tired still. I'm still shaking off the morning, but I have my coffee, so I'm excited to start the day. But I'm super excited to have our guest on today.
Oh, me too. We've got someone special. She is the owner of the Sandstone Cafe. She's been running it for years. She's also a broker here within our office of John L. Scott, and we'll be bringing her on here in a second. But before we do that, we have kind of a trivia question that we throw out there, which leads into our guest. So today's trivia question is, you want to get that one, Christy?
Yeah, I got it. So today's trivia question is a true or false. Tenino developed their own currency made out of wooden money. So is that true or false?
Own currency made out of wooden money. That's interesting. That's an interesting
Yeah.
concept. Okay.
Seems a little
Well,
crazy. Is it true? I don't know.
could
We'll
be
find
false.
out. Stay tuned to the end. We'll let you know.
Which that leads us into our guest. She owns the Sandstone Cafe in Tenino, Washington. She's been running that successfully for several years. She also runs a successful real estate business, which she's been doing for several years. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest, Cheryl Pearce. Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning, Steve.
How are you?
Good.
Well, thanks for joining us. We
Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. You're welcome. One of the things we wanted to really do is really put a spotlight on locally owned businesses here in the area. You know, during the whole COVID-19, there's been a lot of companies who've been suffering, and some of the smaller locally owned companies have been going by the wayside. So we just like to reach out and put a spotlight on our local businesses. And you've owned and run the Sandstone Cafe in Tenino for years and been doing great, and people love the food. It's been like a staple in Tenino here now. It's kind of like one of the go-to spots. So we'd love to come in, bring you on, and share with us your story and learn more about you.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. So Cheryl, how did you get into the restaurant business?
Well, I actually have been in the restaurant business. It was my first job coming out of high school in 1977. I worked at McDonald's, and I worked there and a couple other restaurants. And then I started a family, and I didn't work for quite a few years. But when we relocated to Olympia, I went to work at Hawks Prairie Inn. And so I was there for about 18 years. And then went into real estate from there. So I got my license, went into real estate in 2002, and left the restaurant industry. And then being in real estate, these business opportunities would come up. And so my daughter and I started looking for something that she would run, and I would just kind of be in the background of it. And so in 2006, at the end, September of 2006, we had looked at 4 or 5 places, and this one was up and running in Tenino. And so we purchased it then. And then, of course, as things change, life changes. My daughter is no longer there. She's still kind of a partial partner in the business, but she's now works full-time at Capital Medical School. So it's been a good venture. It's been very successful for us, and we're glad that we did it.
Very nice.
Definitely. So what drew you to Tenino? Because I know, and then also, so I realized that the name Sandstone Cafe, does that have history with Tenino?
It does. So what drew me to Tenino was really, it was Thurston County. We were looking for a business that was open and running in Thurston County. And then this one came up. And so we purchased it really based on it met the criteria that it was up and running, making a profit, and located within the Thurston County area. So, because at that time I lived in Olympia and had about a 25-minute commute. And I now live in Tenino. And when we bought the cafe, actually its name was Biscuits and Stuff. And what we found over the course of a year or so was that people thought it was a bakery. They didn't recognize that name, didn't say restaurant. So we made the decision about 2 years in, and we changed the name to the Sandstone Cafe. And of course, the building is made from sandstone. Tenino's history is rich in the sandstone. The whole historical downtown is made of sandstone. We have the old quarries. The swimming pool here is one of the quarries that's made the news and stuff. You know, it's one of the 7 wonders of Washington State. So that history of, there's buildings in Olympia and all across the country that were made from the sandstone that was quarried here from Tenino.
Wow. Tenino has such like a rich part of our Washington history. Embedded and rooted into it. It's like, it's small town, but yet it has a bit of a presence here. So,
right.
Definitely.
Well, you know, before I-5 went in, this was actually the highway, Old 99 highway, before I-5 bypassed Tenino. It was a very prosperous little city. And of course, they suffered when that I-5 went in and rerouted that traffic.
Yeah, I think it was like used as a lot of motorists, like motorcycles used to take the 99 through there.
And they still do. Yeah. The motorcycles like the back highways. So
I love that drive. You know, if I'm having to go from county to county, just the back road, Old 99 is like a great route. Yelm all the way down to like Central, the Chehalis area.
It's a gorgeous drive out here.
It really is. I love that drive. Nice little Sunday cruise out in the country. So, yeah, Cheryl, like earlier this year, everyone has been affected by COVID-19, a lot of closures happening, small businesses going under. And your business has been able to survive. How's the COVID affected your business? And like, what measures are you guys taking to keep staff and clients safe?
Well, boy, a lot's happened this year. We knew that the close down was coming. And one thing, just, backing up just with some just good business sense, is we've always run on the philosophy that we wanted 3 to 6 months of income in reserve in the event of something happening, because the food industry is always something people can take. If the economy's bad and you've lost your job, you don't have to go out and eat. And we knew that, recognized it. I've been in the restaurant industry for a very long time, most of my adult life in some fashion or other. So we had the reserves to fall back on. The other thing is that we knew it was coming. So on day one, we had a plan. We knew the best thing for our employees was not to try to keep them on, because we weren't going to be able to keep enough hours on with to-goes to feed, to sustain that. We just knew we couldn't do it. And so we laid off everybody except for one employee. And on day one, the night of that closure, we already knew what we were going to do. We reduced our capacity, like our refrigeration, all into as few as we could, so that we could reduce our energy load. We unplugged every device we weren't going to be using, because you're not open. You don't have people sitting in there. You don't need your POSs. You don't need your calculators. You don't need your coffee makers. So we were able to reduce our overhead, not our rent, but the rest of our fixed costs by about 50% from day one. So that was, then it went longer than we thought it was going to. So that was pretty tough. But we did decide to do the takeout, and we did it 6 days a week. We closed one day so I could have a day off, but I would never want to do it again. It was hard work. I worked 3 days completely by myself. I took the orders, cooked the orders, and got the orders out the door. 3 days a week. And then the other 3 days I kept one cook on, and she worked with me. And so the two of us worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday together. And that was for about 2.5 months. And as business actually picked up through that time, the to-go orders, we probably doubled. In the beginning, we were down about 90%. But by the time we were able to reopen, we were only down about 70% maybe. So when you don't have any overhead, you're still making a little bit of money in that. And so we actually survived that with some hard work and some planning. And we feel really blessed. This is a small community. We've been here for 14 years, and people supported us. I mean, they really did. We had people come in, and we know that they came in just to make sure we kept our doors open, and we were able to do that. But once we were able to open back up, we knew we kept up with, all the guidelines and the recommendations and stuff of what we were going to have to do. So we had plenty of time to reduce our seating. We moved tables out. We decommissioned other tables so that we could we literally brought a tape measure in and measured from chair to chair to chair to chair to chair to get all of our spacing properly done. We've always been heavy in our sanitizing anyway, because of the health department, but not just because of that, it's the right thing to do. So, we sanitize the tables and the chairs, and we sanitize every condiment container between every use. And all your high touch surfaces like your doors and your bathrooms, and had all the ventilation cleaned so that we made sure that movement was still there for safety purposes. And so, I think we're doing what we need to do. The masks, the sanitizing, the distancing, and all of that stuff has played into it. So it's an interesting thing because we're at 50% capacity on our seating. An interesting thing happened with that. We were really nervous about that because, we're a small business. And so you think 50% capacity, you're going to lose 50% of your revenue. But what really happened was we found out that because we didn't have as many tickets coming into the kitchen, as our kitchen functioned easier and faster. And so our tables turned quicker, because if people are only waiting 10 minutes for food rather than 20, they had half the wait time. We had half the seat time. So the tables turn faster. So our kitchen runs more efficient, and we can still do the same numbers with half capacity as we did with double the capacity. So we will never go back. We'll never go back to what we had for seating before. So that's the positive that came out of it, that forced us into seating less, but we found out that it was a good decision after all.
Wow, I would have never thought about that aspect of running the restaurant and cook time, and getting meals and tables turned and customers turned.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and the fact that you guys were able to be proactive about the whole thing and make sure that you had like a plan in place from day one to be able to make sure your business stayed afloat and you guys are still taking care of business. That's amazing, honestly. That's great. And then and it ended up, as hard as it was, you learned something new about your business, and now you're able to have more like better service because you're pushing out even faster, and you learn something new about your business.
We absolutely did. We have lost a couple of businesses here in town, and it's really hard when you see your neighbor is not going to make it. It's just flat not going to make it. And we've had 2 restaurants close during this COVID thing. So that's a tough side. And then a couple of other businesses that are probably still struggling as people are not sure about going out yet. I think that's played in our advantage, some of that, because people stay local more than going out, into bigger Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater to eat. They're staying a little more local. They're not venturing out quite as much. So our actual sales numbers now for October are higher than they've ever been.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. So, Cheryl, what do you love most about your business?
I love most, well, there's two things. You get an everyday experience with your customers. So there's this huge social atmosphere with it. I mean, we know so many of our customers. We've been there for 14 years. Last month was our 14-year anniversary. And we've lost a lot of customers. We've seen customers be born, and now are starting school. I mean, they're going off to college or high school or whatever. And so we really have a community. We see the same customers on a regular basis. So we know them by name. You know where they're going to sit. You know if they're struggling with something. You know if they're sick. You know if they're having heartache or they have successes or whatever. So it's kind of like this huge extended family. But the other thing I like about the restaurant field that is so opposite from real estate, because real estate is it's kind of technical, and you still get those relationship experiences, but it's different on the day-to-day basis that you have in a restaurant. But the restaurant's really creative, and I didn't know I had a creative mind, and have found out that I do. Creating new menu items and that. So that's really exciting. And now we've been doing that for so long. Our weekends we run 3 to 6 new items on the weekends. And we get phone calls start coming in on Friday and Saturday morning. What are our weekend specials? So we've really got to be known for that. So it keeps me on my toes, because trying to come up with something new every weekend is not always the easiest thing. But of course, we reduce a lot of things, things that are for fall or for winter or spring and that kind of thing. But our people and just that creative thing that happens with it is really fun. And that's probably what I enjoy the most.
Wow. So you mentioned the being creative in menu items. Does your menu kind of change on the weekend or daily, or?
Well, we try to run specials every day. We make all homemade soups. We make homemade gravy. So we run a special Monday through Friday for our breakfast, but they're the same. So, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those specials are always the same special. On each day is different, but they're from week to week, they're always the same. And the menu changes. Our staple menu, our everyday menu for lunch and breakfast, it stays. We change it a little bit. Every time I think I'm going to get rid of something on the menu, and then it'll sell through the roof. It's like, oh, no, you don't. But we'll add things, every year or two, we'll find something, or we've decided as the community embraces something new, we'll do that. The weekend menus, it's the biggest change, though. On the weekends, we put out a whole different menu. It's 2 pages. One side we run every weekend with our like the Eggs Benedict waffles, and that kind of thing. We have, I don't know, probably 10 items on there. And then on the other side, we run 3, 4, 5, 6 specialty items. Stuffed French toast, like a stuffed French toast is super popular. We'll do a waffle special, or for Halloween, we'll do corned beef hash. That's our monster hash. And so this time of year, we use lots of apples and pears and stuff like that, because it's seasonal and we can do that. In the summer, we do homemade jams, because we can get Spooner's berries. And so we do jams and lots of fresh fruit and that kind of stuff.
I love how Steve and I, when you started mentioning just naming different dishes, we're like, oh, like suddenly my appetite, like I'm starving after this. Like I need to figure out what I'm going to eat. That all sounds so good right now.
It really does. Like all this talk of food just sounds delicious. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. So Cheryl, what is your best selling dish? Like something that people can't get enough of? Or you know what, like, hey, we're going to go to Sandstone for the first time. You need to try this.
Right. We have lots of really high selling items, and all of our scrambles are really popular. So we have a couple of things that are a little bit unique. We have a bacon feta omelet, and that's probably our top selling omelet. And it has bacon, a spinach, tomato, feta cheese, and basil. And that is a really nice omelet. And it's probably our top seller. And then a couple of years ago, I wanted to do a breakfast salad. And everybody thought I was insane to do a breakfast salad. But that is a sauteed spinach with all sauteed vegetables on it, and the feta cheese and the basil and 2 eggs over medium on top of it. And it is one of our top selling items. Once people try it, then they come back for it, and their spouse will order it, and they tell their friends about it. And that's very unique. You don't go very many places and find a breakfast salad. So those 2 items are a little bit different, but our gravy is probably the thing that everybody comes back for, because a lot of places don't make their own gravy anymore, and we still make our own house-made sausage gravy every day. So anything, biscuits and gravy, the chicken fried steak, anything that has gravy on it is probably, and our Georgia special, which is a breakfast special that my dad loved, and that's biscuits and gravy with sausage patty, hash browns, and 2 eggs.
We're gonna have to make a trip after this, Steve.
I think that's
we have a business meeting, right, at the Sandstone, because
I think so.
You have done that before.
Yes, we have. I remember.
So Sherilyn in the comments wrote, "The breakfast salad is my favorite."
See, there you go.
All right. And then Shannon was asking, where are you located? I just hopped on.
So
We are located right downtown Tenino at 273 West Sussex Avenue.
Yeah. We'll make sure to add that information at the end in the comments, so stay tuned for that.
yeah, that's you're right there in the heart of Tenino, Sandstone Cafe, right on the main drag on Sussex.
Correct.
Oh my goodness. I think we got to plan a meeting there or something.
Yeah, definitely. Right after this, can we go? I'm starving. After talking about this, like, I need that in my life, please. That French toast. You had me when you started talking and you mentioned the French toast or the eggs Benedict. That's it.
Right.
Sold.
Cheryl, what are with COVID going on right now? Have your hours changed, or what's the hours of operation?
We are open every day, 7 days a week at 7 o'clock. We open the doors at 6:30 for all the guys that are in town that want a place to socialize and have coffee. Okay. So we're there at 6:30. The doors are open at 6:30. We start cooking when we can, but our technical hours are 7 to 2 weekdays and 7 to 2:30 on the weekends.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Well, if you've been tuning in, make sure to check out the Sandstone Cafe in Tenino. They've got lots of good food, some unique items. Cheryl, we're going to have to plan like a meeting down there. I don't know if you got room for like a whole bunch of people right now.
At least me and Steve for right now.
But me and Christy will come scope it out and we'll bring everyone.
There you go.
You know, obviously I need to take some social media pictures, so we need to go.
Oh.
And then we have a few comments coming in. So Shannon said, great. Serena said, if you've never been there, you must go. So delicious. Then Shannon, great place to advertise to clients. Restaurants are closing all over, so it's great to share with families, definitely. And then I did drop the address in the comments, so if you guys need any extra information, just reach out. But everything's there.
The Sandstone Cafe in Tenino, the heart of Tenino. So, all right, Cheryl. Well, Cheryl, thanks again for coming on, being our guest. And before we kind of wrap up here, Cheryl, we had a trivia question, and maybe you could help us answer this and give us maybe a little insight into this. But it's a true or false question. Tenino briefly achieved national. Oh, wait a second. That's not it. Oh, it is it.
That's the answer.
That's the answer. Oh, okay.
So for today's trivia question, it was true or false. Is it Tenino developed their own currency made out of wooden money?
Do you want me to answer?
Yes, definitely.
The answer is yes.
That is true.
Do you want a brief history on that?
I would love that. Yeah, that would be great, Cheryl.
So what's going on right now that it got so much national attention is, well, during the Great Depression, Tenino created a printer that would print on wooden money. And so they printed their own money. They had their own currency that ran in Tenino. So they had a banker, they had all of that. And so I don't know how many years that went on. Well, the museum still has that printer. And so the mayor, our current mayor, decided to put out have the museum print off new currency that would help the Tenino citizens. So anybody that was impacted, they could apply for that currency. And they did a $10,000 run, and you get $300 a month. And that money could only be used inside Tenino. So it helped the residents and it helped the businesses because that money would come to us. And then we could take the money to the city hall and get reimbursed for it. So any businesses, there's a few things that you couldn't use it for. There's a few businesses, taverns and that kind of thing. But they could use it for their water bill. They could use it at restaurants, the grocery store and such. So we have had numerous amounts of money collectors wanting this wooden script. So you can't get your hands on it. And they're buying it for over face value. So we get kind of a double stimulus package out of that. I mean, we get the money in, and then we're able to resell it to collectors for more than its face value.
Wow.
So it was an ingenious idea for COVID, and a lot of other cities have looked at doing something similar, that money has to get inputted. So whoever receives it can't sell the money. They have to use it inside of a business. Only a business can then turn around and resell the money. So that's kind of how that works.
Wow, that's a crazy interesting concept. And now I mean, it's ingenious.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, there's a little bit of trivia, Tenino trivia and currency and the wooden money. So awesome. Okay. Well, Cheryl, thank you again for coming on. We appreciate you. I'm sure we'll be down there soon to try some of those special, unique items that you have on the menu. So
definitely.
Well, thanks for having me on. And if you guys come and visit Tenino, there's a lot of little super cool shops out here as well. And they still do some sandstone carving. So Keith Phillips has a little shop that's right around the corner from us. And so it's really fun. It's really interesting. It's a great little drive out in the country. Come see us.
We will. We will. All right, Cheryl. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
Cheryl. Bye now. Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah. We learned a little history. I got a little hungry. And then learning about how they were able to, be proactive about COVID and making sure, and they learned, and now they're doing even better in business. It's crazy.
I know, man. That is awesome. Okay. All right, Christy.
Definitely, Shannon. You need to go check it out. I'm gonna go check it out right after this. So catch me there. So,
all
Steve,
right.
do we have some things coming up this week?
You know what we do? We have a few things coming up this week. So today at 10 o'clock, we actually have a 3 o'clock hour class for real estate brokers where we'll be going over the safety and home inspections. So if you're interested in checking that out, we will post that up on our Facebook page. It's a 3 o'clock hour class available for real estate brokers. So if you want to tune in, learn more about how home inspections work or safety in home inspections, tune in and check out that class. You can get 3 free clock hours. It's hosted by Larry Stamp from Cameo Home Inspections. We also have Forms Friday for our real estate brokers. So if you are looking at getting a better understanding of the real estate forms, every Friday we have a forms class, and we cover one form in particular. We take one form and break it down. This Friday coming up, we are actually going over the listing agreement and what that means. Just not just how to fill it out, because we do go over that, but like what it means to your clients, yourselves, the broker, the firm. So that comes up this Friday. Then also on Friday we have our Friday market updates with Jurgen and Davina. They will go over what's going on in the market for Pierce County. They will also go over the new listings coming on the market and also our open houses. So stay tuned for that. So that wraps up what we have going on for this week. So
definitely. So thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in today. If you know of any other small businesses that we can, spotlight and, share in the limelight, we would love to feature them. We understand how difficult COVID has been, and we just want to make sure that we're doing something in our community that we can, we honestly have been doing great with these videos and we love doing them. So if you have a recommendation, send them our way.
Absolutely. All right, Christy, we ready?
All right, Steve, I am ready.
All right.
You want to count us down?
I'll count us down. Thank you again for tuning in. We have our next talent talk where we bring in a real estate guest. That's going to be Monday. Then we have our community spotlights on Thursday. So tune in. We love to have you in. All right, Christy, on the count of three.
All right.
One, two, three.
Be bold.
Be bold.
Bye, everyone.